There is only one way to beat procrastination as an INTP, or an introverted, analytical, intellectual person. And I'm going to explain that to you, that one thing, that one secret that you need to finally beat procrastination. I'm going to take you through a bit of background so you can relate to my problem potentially, right? I'm going to explain how I struggled with procrastination for many years and what allowed me to finally end it and be productive. Back when I was writing my thesis for my bachelor in business in 2022 or whatever, about 2 years ago, I had an assignment that I had come up with myself, which was to figure out how to improve communication between different departments of a government organization. Right? That was my thesis. That was the topic of my thesis. And as I was researching and beginning to write and figuring out what exactly was the problem within the organization so that I could figure out what they needed to do to overcome it, I started connecting dots like crazy, right? When I get a new piece of information, I immediately tie it into other pieces of information. I connect the dots between lots of different things quite easily. That is sort of my nature, and it might be yours as well. Now, I was working from home, so I had to do this from home, which did make it easier. And the fact that I'm an introvert that doesn't feel very comfortable introducing himself to new people easily. There were many things that explained why I wasn't doing as well as I could. But one thing that I kept struggling with was that I would get an idea for a certain segment of this big project, right? And I would realize that in order for me to make that little piece the best, I would have to know what I was going to write in all of the other segments because everything is related. And then because I needed to make other things complete first, I would go to a different thing. And at the time I didn't realize what I was doing, but then I would go to a different thing and I would realize, oh, I need to figure out all of these things first before I can make a very good second segment of this project, of this thesis. And that was quite troublesome. And so I watched this video a couple of days ago by a YouTube channel named Love Who, and it taught me so much about this specific situation in people that are like me, people that are introverted, that are more rational than emotional, that are quite intellectual, love to think, love to analyze, love to connect dots, and also that are quite perfectionistic and self-conscious. And so here it is. INTPs interface with the world through the use of a logical framework that they spend most of their time pondering and perfecting. They prefer to create principles that they can rely on in each situation. An idea is not interesting enough. It needs to be turned into a principle or law. And actually, even that is not interesting enough. That's why it takes so long to get things done. Quote, "It does not feel satisfying until it is turned into knowledge that is second nature to them." And this is why the one secret to beat procrastination is mastery, right? You may or may not have read books like So Good You Can Be Ignored by Cal Newport or Mastery by Robert Greene, but there is a certain small segment of this success mindset, productivity, business, part of knowledge, part of education, part of whatever, online education, that focuses on that topic, right? Mastery. Becoming so good you can be ignored. Becoming so good that no one can compete with you. Putting in tens of thousands of hours into a particular craft to be the best at it. Now, I wish I could tell you a different secret that was a lot easier. And there are things you can do to be productive as an INTP, but this is so interesting to me. It does not feel satisfying until it is turned into knowledge that is second nature to them. The second I heard that, it clicked, and I felt like that is applicable to my situation. And so the answer to productivity is mastery, which is not what I want to tell you, because mastery takes time, right? I wish I could give you some sort of supplement that would solve your issue immediately, but that is not how things go. But that is also fine, because we are probably one of the personality types that is most suited for mastery. Because in this complex world, mastery requires connecting things to other things, right? It's often thought that mastery is highly specialized, and it can be for some people. But precisely what the world is missing right now is people that can connect the dots between various disciplines. And our curiosity, our ability to see interconnectivity, our ability to structure and systemize or modelize information in our brain is unique, and it is a skill that you should use, right? Because with great strength comes great responsibility. And so knowing this and diving into this means you have to master your craft. The good thing is you were going to thrive anyway doing that. The second good thing is that you're going to be better at doing that than other people. And the third thing is that you can help make a lot of positive impact on the world with your mastery. So everything needs to be turned into like second nature to you. Everything needs to be turned into something you already master. And now, of course, the way to mastery is just to do something often, to do something a lot, and to keep learning. So the biggest obstacle, I would say, is starting at something. Because once you've started something, that is the thing that you're closest to mastery in, and you're gonna be able to differentiate yourself and get to a position of high productivity, right? You need to start with something. I don't know at what stage of your life you are in, but if you're still deciding on what to do, you need to figure out something you will want to do for a long time. And so it is perfectly okay to spend a lot of time thinking and figuring things out. And the best way to do that, I guess, is to follow your curiosities, try to do a lot of things, read books about various topics, and then start to put together the puzzle pieces, right? You need to find something you would want to do for a long time, that you could see yourself being a master in, and preferably also something that you feel you would do even if you weren't paid, which is following your curiosities and putting dots together, right? So in your career or in your entrepreneurial journey, you want to find things where you can do that. Now, if you are familiar with personality types and you really know for sure you are an INTP or potentially an INTJ, but mostly INTPs, because that P part is about having a certain sense of freedom, having a certain, not shying away from staying in the conventional path, right? You are okay with going a different route. That is amazing as well, because that fits into this. I'm just ranting here, presenting this little bit of information that I learned that I think is insanely valuable. If you are a young guy, right, and you are still figuring out what you want to do with your life, what your purpose is, and you don't necessarily have formal education yet, maybe you do, that's fine as well. If you are figuring out what you want to do, then I would suggest something like the following. You need to put in quite a lot of effort, like I just mentioned, into figuring out what your purpose is, right? Because you need to go through lots of curiosity, deep dives before you find something that really sticks and that ties into other things. So there's this one model called Ikigai, where you find your purpose in the place where 4 circles meet, right? So you have 4 circles that all overlap in the middle. And those 4 circles are what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. Those 4 things are important. Now, what you're good at is intellectual pursuit, curiosity pursuit, deep dives, tying things together, general, being a generalist instead of being specialized in something, putting everything together. That's what you're naturally good at. Where you go from there is dependent on the skills you learn, right? You need to get productive, you need to, etc. You need to work on certain things. Because although this is the secret to stopping procrastination, you need to do other things to be productive in general, right? Like sleeping well, not distracting yourself, eating well, etc. What you enjoy cannot be found until you have pursued curiosities. What the world truly, truly needs, you do not know until you've pursued curiosity. And what you can be paid for is basically everything. As long as you solve a problem for a business or for people, you can make money, right? So you have certain skills, you have certain things that you're good at. You know that you can be paid for some of that. But what you need to then find is what the world needs and what you enjoy. And so read like a maniac and study yourself and the world around you, basically. Now, depending on how old you are, you're gonna have to take different approaches in your situation. Are you living with your parents? Have you moved out of the house? Whatever. But as a young man, I would suggest always starting a business. Now is the easiest time to start a business, right? So much software is available online and so much knowledge is available online that you can easily start a business. Now, business can be many things, business to business, so e-commerce basically, or business to consumer is e-commerce. Business to business is usually either making a company more money or taking away annoying tasks. You have sort of consumer to business like freelancing, and you have consumer to consumer. And that is a particularly interesting thing because what you see growing a lot is people learning about their problems and then teaching that. Because you love probably to dive into your problems and to figure out what to do about them, you can help other people with that. That's just one idea. But for all of those businesses, you might need some starting capital, but what you really need is time. And so if you don't know your purpose yet, and therefore your business model yet, then you need to make sure that in a couple of years, you are able to buy back your own time. So if you know First Man, you know he suggests when you're 16, get like a factory job or a trade job, just work, save as much money as possible, from 16 to 21, 25, whatever. Save as much as possible, live with your parents, and then take all of those savings, move to a different country, leave your old self behind, and go all in on building a business, right? That is what I'm doing right now. I saved money, not for that many years, but I saved money for a bit. I moved out, and now I'm working on what I truly care about. But you need to have that level of freedom, so you need a certain level of money, etc. You could also decide to live with your parents, but when you get older and you stay living with your parents and you don't have any income to keep focusing on your business, then you're asking a bit too much from your parents, in my opinion. You should be able to stand on your own. So even when you are saving money and working and living with your parents, buy your own stuff, but try to save as much as possible. That is just one pursuit, and it is a bit of a side track from what I started this video about. But if you are indeed a young man specifically, and you are introverted, intuitive, you're a thinker, you're intellectual, you're analytical, you love connecting dots, and you are not afraid to take a different path than the path that is laid out for you conventionally, then I have a lot of resources to help you. And you can find all of them inside of my free community, which you can access through the link in the bio, where we have courses now on how to quit bad habits, how to find your purpose, how to leave your old self behind, how to start good habits, which good habits to start, and a lot of information about yourself and the world around you. So you can basically do everything I just said, but with guidance and with information specifically for you. So if that's interesting to you, just click the link below. It's all free. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and make sure you pursue mastery.